Another fight like you were talking about, look at the records, 22-10 for Edson Barboza, 14-1 for Bryce Mitchell.
They're almost like identical, all of them. 13-0, 14-1, for like 20-something, 10-something.
Oh, as soon as you get to 10 losses into the UFC, you're practically useless. You're like a disposable commodity to throw in there against these up-and-comers. I'm going to find this really hard to pick against Edson Barboza, but I'm going to. I think Barboza's got wicked striking skills, and I think if he's got space and range, he's one of the most dangerous people in this weight class or at 155. I've just been incredibly impressed with Bryce Mitchell's ability to calmly close distance. He uses that nice little hop side kick to the midsection. He's not in a rush to get the fight to the floor, but as soon as he's there, people will just look out of their depth.
Yeah.
I mean, they just like Charles Rosa is no joke on the floor. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt trained by ATT. He was in an arm triangle and a twister and then back to an arm triangle in the first round. Like Bryce Mitchell is consistently finding twister positions, which shows you the level of his striking, the level of his grappling, because it's not an accidental submission to find yourself in. You can find yourself have a few guillotines on your record because you keep attacking them. Taking someone's back and beating them up, eventually you're probably going to add a few rear naked chokes to your record. But a twister is
the
different.
only one that has a twister?
No.
Or like one of the...
Korean Zombie got a twister in his debut against Leonard Garcia.
Look at that.
I know.
MMA encyclopedia over here.
The reason I remember that is because the fight with Korean Zombie and Leonard Garcia in WEC was a war. It was just a wild fight.
Okay, but technically that was WEC.
No, you're not listening. That was his first fight against him. When he was in WEC, Korean Zombie and Leonard Garcia fought, and that was what made Korean Zombie famous, was the WEC fight, because they were both swinging hands down, both getting rocked and bloodied. He came into the UFC and they matched him against Leonard Garcia in his debut because they're like, this is going to be a banger. We'll get a rematch that was like the first one, and he took him down and twisted him straight away. So it was like everyone was excited. Everyone was wearing the Korean Zombie shirts. I even think it might have been on that big show in Canada. I don't remember when it was, but I remember being there. And it was just like the whole vibe was, Korean Zombie is a wild man. It's going to be a brawl. And he showed technical prowess on the ground. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And of course, Joe Rogan's losing his shit. I think Eddie Bravo was working in the truck at the time. He's losing his shit. Yeah. A twister's a really interesting submission because most of the time, if you find yourself in that position, you could have probably chosen to attack the back and get the rear naked choke. So it's an option to take a twister. It's almost like a bragging right to be the guy with the twisters, like OSP with his Von Flue chokes. You know, he's kind of owned that submission. Bryce Mitchell's doing the same thing. I'm calling him to win by twister.
And he got a submission of the year, I think, as well with that twister.
Got to with a twister. It's just,
it was beautiful.
It's a really nice submission. I'll have to break it down at some point so people understand the technical aspects of it. But basically what you're doing is you put in the reason it's called a twister is because you put in a twist through this person's spine. So you twist in their lower body one way and their upper body the other. And what you'll notice in the Charles Rosa fight is that there's a real battle to get his arm under Charles Rosa's head. Like Eddie Bravo's got a little move that he does where he rocks people to create a bit of space, and then he'll go around the back of the head and then you're cranking across. So you're twisting the head over the back of the spine. It's a horrible position to get caught in. I have been there a couple of times myself, training at 10th Planet, of course. I think he's going to be all over him on the floor. I think Barboza's slick, but as soon as it hits the floor, it's
down a little bit.
He is a little bit.
This is kind of like a passing of the torch.
There's a lot of that. There's
a lot of like testing of that in this card, I feel.
You know, interestingly, Bryce Mitchell, the loss on his record was, well, no, sorry. The loss on his record is an exhibition match against Brad Katona.
Technically, he doesn't have a loss on his record.
Yeah, technically he doesn't. I wonder why that makes no sense. Okay. Brad Katona's fighting for the belt in Brave on their next event. Brave 57, I think it is. Brad Katona's a very good fighter. He's no longer in the UFC, unfortunately, but he'll be probably picking up a Brave title if he has a good performance. I think Thug Nasty's going to do this. I hate to pick against Edson Barboza, but I was just so impressed with what he did against Feely and against Rosa. he's going to be improving constantly. And like you said, Barboza's on that downturn. Yeah.
Plus, I didn't really like the way he looked versus Chikadze.
No.
That's the only, like, if it wasn't for that last fight against Chikadze, I'd probably say yeah, but that exhibition match rear naked choke leads me to believe that maybe Edson Barboza might pull off a submission. But considering how he looked against Giga, because I think Giga even like went for a submission during the fight as well, and like was pretty close, but didn't get it, obviously.
I think Mitchell subs him. I think Mitchell subs him first round. Like the other thing as well, Barboza, I always thought if he's going to move a weight class, he'd go up. Like, I know he's not massive for a welterweight, 5'11", 75-inch reach, and considering how lean he was when he was at 155, the fact that he went down a weight class is as surprising as Jose Aldo cutting to bantamweight for me. I don't know what that's taking out of him, especially being 36 years old. You know, you can't keep doing that to yourself. Yeah, I hate to pick against him because I'm a big fan, but Bryce Mitchell, I think he's going to do it.
So is he going to have like the camo Venom shorts?
I don't know what's happening with that. I'm not sure. They've taken all the.
His ads are so funny.
Oh, they are.
The car sales ads, they're hilarious.
Yeah, they are.
I love it.
Okay, you're going Bryce Mitchell as well, right? Yeah. Okay.